Hi everyone, this is Eagle News. I'm Ralph Cornell in Washington. It's Saturday, January 28th, 2023 here in the nation's capital. The week's recap begins with the man who put his feet on a desk of former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi. He is found guilty of felony and misdemeanor charges. Arlene Ocampo has the details.
62-year-old Richard Barnett of Gravette, Arkansas, is found guilty here in the District of Columbia of felony and misdemeanor charges. The charges are for his actions during the January 6, 2021 breach of the U.S. Capitol. He was among rioters who disrupted a joint session of the Congress that was in the process of certifying the electoral votes related to the 2020 presidential election. Images of him at the desk of then Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, are widely circulated on mainstream and social media. One of the most infamous pictures shows him sitting reclined on Pelosi's chair with his foot up on her desk. Barnett is found guilty of all charges. He is scheduled to be sentenced on May 3. He faces a maximum penalty of 47 years in prison. Barnett and his legal team say they are going to appeal the decision. Arlene Ocampo, Washington, D.C., Eagle News, we live in extraordinary times.
Free COVID testing is still available here in the country. In fact, there is a website that helps people locate COVID testing sites that do not charge the consumer. Roselle Feria reports.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, launches the COVID-19 testing locator website. This website will allow consumers to search for free COVID-19 testing sites near them. The locator is part of the CDC Increasing Community Access to Testing, or ICATT program. It provides access to COVID-19 testing. It focuses on communities at a greater risk of being impacted by the pandemic, people who do not have health insurance, and search testing in state and local jurisdictions. Tests offered may include laboratory-based nucleic acid amplification tests, or NAATs, including polymerase chain reaction, or PCR tests, and rapid antigen point of care, or POC testing. Results are typically provided within 24 to 48 hours. The CDC says testing is available at pharmacies, commercial laboratory sites, community sites, and retail locations. COVID-19 testing is available at no cost at ICATT sites to people with or without health insurance who are experiencing symptoms or have been exposed to someone with COVID-19. Consumers can access the testing locator at testinglocator.cdc.gov. Roselle Feria, Washington, D.C., Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Meanwhile, a United Nations report suggests that although the recorded number of human trafficking victims and offenses decreased in 2020, this might not reflect reality. Joanne Soriano reports.
The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime releases its latest report on human trafficking. It gives some insight on the crisis during pandemic times. Victims of human trafficking fell by 11% in 2020 from the previous year. The number of convictions for trafficking offenses also fell by 27% over the same period. The numbers, though, may be misleading. According to the report, while the pandemic reduces opportunities for traffickers to operate, the restrictions might make detecting victims more difficult. COVID lockdowns may have weakened law enforcement's capacity to detect victims. In addition, pandemic restrictions might have pushed human trafficking to more concealed and more dangerous places, making it harder to identify those being trafficked. War and conflict, such as the war in Ukraine, are also elevating trafficking risks for the millions displaced. The UN emphasizes the importance of supporting national authorities, especially in developing countries, to respond to trafficking threats and identify and protect victims, especially in states of emergency. Joanne Soriano, New York, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
In Canada, several protests erupt against a move by the Ontario government to remove lands from the Greenbelt protection. The government says these lands will be used for additional housing in the province. To tell us more, here's Yolanda Espiris.
Earlier this week, Rallies were held in downtown Toronto to oppose the Ontario government's decision to remove some protected land areas from the Ontario's Greenbelt, opening up these specific lands to build more housing. The Ontario's Greenbelt currently includes over 2 million acres of land across the province, which safeguard vital resources that help preserve nature, reduce flood risk, provide a natural home for wildlife, and help slow down the impact of climate change. In 2005, the Greenbelt Act was created to officially and permanently protect these lands from further loss of farmland and restrict urban sprawl. Last month, the Ontario government passed 2 regulations removing 15 areas of land from the Greenbelt's protection, to which people and politicians have strongly opposed. Members of the NDP and Liberal Party have expressed that the government have other areas to build affordable homes, accusing Premier Dougford of selling off the Greenbelt. The government claims that this decision will help solve the housing shortage in Ontario. Yolanda Aspiras, Toronto, Ontario. Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
The 2024 Tournament of Roses Parade theme will be celebrating a world of music, the universal language. The idea behind next year's theme revolves around the premise that the power of music can transcend any barrier. In Pasadena, California, Eva Basaliaje reports.
It was all smiles and hugs for President Alex Agajanian, who announced the 2024 Tournament of Roses Parade theme, celebrating a world of music, the universal language.
For in a world of different cultures, beliefs, hopes, and dreams, there is still one language that unites us all: music.
We're announcing a theme for the 2024 Rose Parade presented by Honda, and that theme is celebrating a world of music, the universal language. So each year the president picks a theme for the next year's parade, and so it was my turn to pick that theme. I love music. It's a language that we all can communicate with. It's something where if we don't speak the same language, we can still communicate through music. All different kinds of music are just fun and exciting to listen to, so that's the origin of the theme. On February 8th, we have what's called a theme draft. In that theme draft, the builders present their thoughts on what the theme is and the floats they're going to build. So it's important to give them a heads up as to what the theme is so they can be prepared for the theme draft and start the process of constructing the floats for the 24 parade.
I get to pass something on to someone. Mr. Ed Morales, will you please come up to the podium? So each year, as the Executive Vice President, you are in charge of weather. And you are handed the red umbrella. We do not unwrap the red umbrella, so therefore it does not rain.
No rain in 24. None. It will not rain.
California definitely needs more rain, just not during the parade. And if President Agajanian has anything to say about it, New Year's Day 2024 won't turn into a soggy celebration. Eva Basayaje, Pasadena, California, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Several stories from Thomas Eye Likeness today. From China turning to traditional medicine to fight COVID, to Netherlands building a parking structure for thousands of bikers there, to hundreds of cranes resting along Hula Lake in Israel. Here's Correspondent At Large.
And now news and commentary from around the globe. A couple of COVID-related stories out of China. How is the country coping with the current surge of COVID cases? Well, by going old school, turning to traditional Chinese medicine. These days, people are turning to it in part because of a shortage of other medications. They prepare special teas from various plants and herbs. You know, since the beginning of the pandemic, the country's president has been promoting traditional Chinese medicine, and health officials say it's played an important role in fighting COVID. Proponents say the traditional cures have fewer side effects and work more slowly to regulate the body. They say Western medicine treats the symptoms, but rarely the cause. Not everyone's convinced, though. Like Ben Cowling, he's the head of epidemiology at the University of Hong Kong School of Public Health. He says no conclusions can be drawn about the effectiveness of these remedies. Cowling says they simply haven't been studied in clinical trials. He says, well, some may be effective, others may be harmful. Bottom line, says Cowling, more study is needed. But in the meantime, millions of people in China still use it, often in conjunction with Western medicine. And since COVID restrictions have been loosened, the segment of the hospitality industry in China that caters to pets is booming. Reservations at Chao Ting Chow's dog mansion in Beijing are fast filling up. Pet owners want to travel, now that they're allowed to, and, when they go to visit relatives and friends, they usually can't bring Fido with them. And that's where Chu comes in. His establishment has a large yard for the canines to play in. They have individual pens. There's even a swimming pool for those animals that want to do some dog paddling. As China's middle class has expanded, so has the number of pet owners, and many of them are prepared to shell out the big bucks to ensure their animals are comfortable. Rates at some pet hotels are nearly $150 a night. That's more than it costs to lodge a human. Business is also booming for cat sitters. In the Netherlands, close to a third of commuters in the city of Amsterdam travel by bicycle. And like other commuters, they have parking problems. In a small country like the Netherlands, land is limited. So the solution in Amsterdam? Build a couple of parking garages under the city's harbor. They're next to the city's central train station. The project had its engineering challenges. The first one was to pump all of the water out of the harbor area so that builders could start construction. The project took about 4 years and $65 million to complete. The two structures accommodate about 11,000 bicycles. In Australia, there's a public holiday that many want the government to get rid of. It's called Australia Day. But some, they've renamed it Invasion Day. The holiday falls on January 26th, just this past Thursday, and it has traditionally celebrated the arrival of European settlers at Sydney Harbour. That was back in 1788. Generally, it's observed with beach parties and backyard barbecues, but in recent years it's become a day of protest. Indigenous people say the occasion is nothing to celebrate. They say the arrival of Europeans marked the beginning of cultural genocide by colonizers. They want the day abolished. Australian historian Lyndall Ryan estimates more than 10,000 Indigenous people were killed in some 400 massacres since the British arrived. Our nature walk today, the shores of Hula Lake. It's in northern Israel. And what you see here are thousands of cranes. It's a rest stop for them as they continue their seasonal migration from Europe to Africa. Up to 90,000 of the birds will land at the lake, but not all of them will continue on to Africa. About half of them will winter at Hula Lake Park. Oh, and the collective noun for a flock of cranes? According to the International Crane Foundation, it's a sedge of cranes. I'll be back in 7 days, and in the meantime, I wish you all peace, joy, and happiness in the ensuing week. Thomas I. Likeness, Correspondent at Large, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Language translating devices have been gaining traction in sectors such as education and travel. In an effort to break down language barriers, Time Kettle introduces its latest product, translation earbuds. In Pomona, California, Alan Basilaje on Mind Your Business.
Need a breather after trekking all day at the Asian American Expo? Oh, take a break, a technology break. This time around, the product in focus are translator earbuds from Time Kettle.
Our product works very simple. You take out the earbuds and you pair it with our app we developed. Then you share one of the earbuds to the person you want to speak to, and then you can each of them they can just speak their mother language. Yeah, then the translation will goes to two-way. Yeah, that's how does it work. We are supporting 40 languages and 93 accents. Which language you want to try?
English.
Okay. 你好，非常高兴今天在这里见到你。
It translated, hello, very nice to meet you today.
我想问一下，你这次来美国最大的印象是什么？
That's a long statement, but it says, I'd like to know your biggest impression of this visit to the United States.
All the translation can show on the smartphone screen. Also, the translation will go to each side earbuds. You cannot imagine that how hard it is to learn a language, how much time you will spend. And also, sometimes you learn, for 2 years, maybe you don't use it for next 2 years, then you forget it. So I think I strongly recommend people, especially when they have already graduated, they have already spent too much time on their work. So they need to just make full use of artificial intelligence to empower themselves. Once the language barrier is removed, then there are going to a lot of things or beautiful thing is going to happen because people can understand each other, people can talk with each other. The relationship will become better and better, even more solid when you are dealing with in business, in personal, relationship, or even like the relationship between country with country. I think that's very important. That's why communication is connection.
A translation system that fits in your ear? The world really is becoming a smaller place. Alan Basoyahe, Pomona, California, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Let's head over to Panama. Metro users in this Latin American country have an alternative way to pay for their rides. Let's find out how from Sean Davila on Window to Latin America.
The Panama Metro implements an alternative digital payment method. This through the use of contactless debit and credit cards from any country. One can access the services at Line 1 and Line 2 stations. With this technological tool, Metro users just have to bring their contactless card closer to one of the identified validators on the turnstile to enter any of the stations and make their regular route. Upon arrival at the station of their destination, they must again tap their card on the turnstile to validate the trip and exit the station. It is not necessary to insert the card or enter security codes to validate the transaction, making every trip faster and more convenient. This new tool will benefit thousands of commuters who use the metro system daily. It will also be a more convenient payment option for tourists and even those who do not use the metro daily because it eliminates the need to buy the metro card to ride the trains. The Panama Metro is the fastest, cheapest, and most efficient mode of transportation if you wish to travel within the country's capital. The implementation of this payment system places Panama as one of the pioneering countries in the world in terms of digital payments for mass transportation, at par with large cities in the world. Sean Davila, Ciudad de Panama, Panama, Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
You don't have to buy a plane ticket to explore cultures of another continent. You can always take the whole family on a trip to your local museum. In Corpus Christi, Texas, Jane Kathleen Gregorio takes us on a tour of the Texas State Museum of Asian Cultures. Here's Color My World.
In downtown Corpus Christi, just a few blocks from the bay and nestled near the iconic Harbor Bridge, is the Texas State Museum of Asian Cultures, which was founded in 1974 by Billy Chandler, a Texas native and schoolteacher who, after spending many years in Asia, brought back numerous cultural artifacts and art from different countries. Today, her collection, along with other exhibits and antiquities, have helped to build an educational bridge between Texas and Asia. Some of the notable exhibits include the Hakata Hall, which houses one of the largest displays of Hakata dolls in the world. Another exhibit, The General,
A full-sized all-jade replica of the terracotta soldiers seen in the tomb of the first emperor of China is also one of these special exhibits and stands over 6 feet high, weighing nearly 2,000 pounds. In addition to the exhibit showcasing the arts from various Asian countries, the museum also offers a variety of activities and weekly events for the whole family to enjoy.
So some of the things that took place today were our lion dance, where we had our president of the board come and do a little lion dance for everyone who came out. Then we did a martial arts demonstration featuring karate and taekwondo, I believe. And then we sold manas bread, and we had our karaoke which is going on right now.
We do a number of different cultural and historical events. We do art classes, we do origami, we do weapons demonstrations, we do calligraphy classes, we do folklore readings that usually ends up being me, and in fact, we do history lessons, a couple different things. What's been really popular of late has been our mochi making classes, the sushi making classes, and our origami classes. Primary focus, in part because it was Billy Chandler's primary focus, was Japan. However, we do have items from literally all across Asia. So we do Turkey, Middle East proper, India. We do India fairly heavily when possible. China, we do Taiwan, we do Korea. Japan, again, is the primary focus. And then all the way out to Hawaii. A lot of Philippines, Vietnamese, and Indonesian items as well. But being a cultures museum, we're able to cover art, history, modern art, ancient art, folklore, natural histories, natural science, truths, so we can really cover a wide a range of classes and programs. Mark Twain, primarily, he's the one quoted for it, although many others have said it, that travel is the opposite of bigotry, and that you learn about other people best by traveling. And travel is the best, and research is the best, and facilities like this throughout the world to learn about other cultures, learn about the past, learn what you like, learn to open your eyes, perhaps even learn what you don't like and why your mind wasn't open before, and understand it better simply by understanding.
Jane Kathleen Gregorio, Eagle News, Corpus Christi, Texas. We live in extraordinary times.
With an abundance of tasty choices, Asian food remains an adventurous, consistent, and reliable option for many. In Pomona, California, Eva Basiliaje surveys which culinary delights are the go-to choice when it comes to Asian eats. Here's this week's Adventure Awaits.
What is your go-to Asian food?
Peking duck. It's very tasty, you know. They have the wrap and the vegetable and the sauce.
I really like takoyaki. It's a Japanese food. It's like a finger food and little balls of octopus meat, like kind of enveloped in a pancake mix.
I would say my favorite Asian food is probably sushi. It's kind of more basic. There's just so many different kinds of it, so I think it could appeal to a lot of people.
Noodles.
I know, right? There's so many. You gotta just eat it, and you know why Asian food is good.
I think my favorite Asian food is bulgogi. I absolutely love it. I mean, flavorful, savory. You can actually just have it with rice, and it's just so delicious.
Pancit, adobo, sinigang, sisig, ramen, and sushi, and yakitori, kebabs. There's something about Asian cuisine that's just, it's very powerful. Like the flavors are so strong and bold. I like a lot of other cuisines too, but for just some reason, when I have like Japanese food, Chinese food, Asian food in general, the flavors are so powerful. Some of the best flavors I've ever had. There's just something about that flavor that has me hooked.
But I like ramen. I just like it. I just tasted it one time and ooh, so good.
I love to order taiyaki, which is octopus ball, and to go with it, you can't go wrong with milk tea boba. Any boba drink. It's one of the best food, in my opinion, over any other culture's food. I love Asian food.
Thai, Korean, Filipino. If it's Asian food, you really can't go wrong. Eva Basiliaje, Pomona, California. Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Worldwide, anime and comic book conventions are a popular gathering place for fans of sci-fi, fantasy, and adventure. At Anime Impulse Los Angeles, cosplayers enjoy the freedom to express their creative side in a safe and welcoming environment. In Pomona, California, Eva and Alan Basilaje are with us again. Take a look.
Anime and cosplay converge at Anime Impulse Los Angeles, presented by Toyota.
Packing convention halls, fans eagerly scoop up merchandise and, quoting one of the guests, look to connect with fellow nerds.
Anime is appealing because it's kind of a fun escape from reality. It's like stressful going to work, going to school.
It's really great to be part of a community where we're all nerds, we're all big fans of different series, and we're all here for the same reason. We're all here to support and celebrate the things that get us excited.
I'm very surprised because I never knew conventions like this existed and that people dressed up. I always wanted to dress up, and just to be able to do it on any occasion like this event here is just, it's fun.
It's fun to be around people who enjoy the same things as you are, and then from there you can talk to a lot of other people.
LA's a big city, you know? Anime convention is where you go. Yeah.
We were also talking about how Colorado, when we were growing up, didn't have much of
there's not a big anime community, so
yeah.
So you come here.
I really enjoy it when other fans come up because of the fact that it's something we both share. It's something that we have in common. Cons are a great way to have like an icebreaker and start connecting from there. And then it's also like really amazing to find out what each of us love about that series and about that character.
I've been doing this for a very, very long time. It's just a nice feeling, the sense of escapism, and have just some light weight lifted off your shoulders for about a day or two, and just having fun with friends and getting to meet new ones.
So when it comes to merchandise, my friends can attest to this. There's no control. I love to buy everything from prints to keychains to merchandise. I just love it. When I'm excited about a series or a character, I have to own like everything that character or that series is on.
It all depends on your budget, really. But sometimes even if you don't have the budget for it, you just gotta buy it. It's just so addicting. You want it. It all depends on you. If you can afford it, or if you just don't care and just be like, okay, I'm just gonna get it.
As you've heard, when it comes to budget, these fans don't try to stick to one.
So for merch, the sky's the limit. After all, can you really put a price tag on happiness?
Eva and Alan, Pomona, California. Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Before we let you go, here's our photo of the week from Yolanda Espiras in Toronto. Look at this little boy all bundled up for school. Looks like a very cold morning, but learning awaits. Good job, kid. Thank you all for joining us again. If there are any stories or topics you want us to share with you, please just comment below. View, like, share our other shows. City Limits with Alan Basilaje. Connected with Dr. David. Take a seat and join us with Anna Kui. Plate Date with Mike Hudson and Friends. Plus, Journey, Stories of Filipinos in Canada with Kathleen Cruz. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Eagle News Live. I am Ralph Cornell, and we live in extraordinary times. Happy weekend, everyone.